My friends, the topic we're going to discuss today is a bit heavy, but extremely important. And let me say this right now. By starting to watch this video, you've already pulled ahead. Because most people brush it off with, "This doesn't concern me." You didn't. That difference will mean a lot down the road. Pandemic viruses, not just a health crisis, but periods when economic systems, individuals, financial situations, and the fates of entire nations get turned upside down. The world experienced this brutally in 2020, and history tells us this wasn't the first time, and it won't be the last. So what's our job? To panic? No. To be prepared, to take precautions, and most importantly, to be able to see opportunity even in the middle of a crisis. Let's talk through this together, step by step, honestly. 1. How do pandemic viruses affect the economy? Friends, when a pandemic breaks out, the impact on the economy doesn't come through a single channel. It comes through multiple channels, simultaneously. And that simultaneity is what makes things genuinely difficult. First, impact. Supply chain paralysis. When factories close, transportation is restricted, and borders temporarily tighten, goods can no longer flow from one place to another. In 2020, the world experienced this with masks, medicine, electronic components, and even basic food products. Do you remember when toilet paper disappeared from supermarket shelves? Behind that was supply chain panic. It looked funny, but economically, it was a very serious signal. Second impact. Collapse of consumer demand. When people are locked in their homes, spending habits change dramatically. Restaurants, hotels, airlines, retail stores, the entertainment sector, demand crumbles overnight. According to data from the International Air Transport Association, the global airline industry lost approximately $120 billion in 2020. Just think about that number. Third impact. Shaking of the labor market. Millions of people lose their jobs or are temporarily laid off. This drives consumer spending down even further. Falling spending puts more pressure on businesses. Struggling businesses lay off even more workers. The vicious cycle works exactly like this. The International Labor Organization calculated that in 2020, global working hours suffered losses equivalent to approximately 8.8 billion full-time jobs. That number sounds abstract, but behind it are real people and real families. Fourth impact. Government budgets exploding. Healthcare spending surges, support packages are needed to keep economies afloat, and tax revenues fall. This triple pressure pushes government debt to historic levels. According to IMF data, global public debt increased by approximately $20 trillion during the 2022-2021 period. The bill for those debts will be paid for many years to come through inflation, interest rate policies, and restrictions on public services. Fifth impact. Volatility in financial markets. Stock markets first drop sharply, then often recover quickly with central bank interventions. But that recovery doesn't always reflect the real economy. In 2020, while markets bounced back rapidly from their lows, millions of people were waiting in line for unemployment benefits. That contradiction was concrete proof that markets price expectations, not the economy. 2. What does history tell us? My friends, pandemics are nothing new. Throughout history, major epidemics have occurred repeatedly and have shaken economies every time. The 1918 Spanish flu, an estimated 50 to 100 million people lost their lives. Global economic output contracted significantly. Combined with the chaos of the post-war period, some countries experienced deep economic hardship in the early 1920s. The 2003 SARS outbreak, despite its relatively limited spread, it imposed costs of approximately $40 to $50 billion on Asian economies. Tourism and international trade were the most affected sectors. The 2009 swine flu? Its economic impact remained relatively contained, but it revealed how fragile global health systems truly were. The 2014-2016 Ebola, it deeply shook local economies in West Africa. In addition to direct economic losses, investment and trade directed toward the region declined significantly. 2020, COVID-19, beyond all of the above, a crisis experienced on a truly global scale, constituting one of the largest peacetime shocks in modern economic history. The common message: pandemics came and went, but those who were unprepared struggled the longest. Those who were prepared turned the crisis into opportunity. 3. Who were the winners in the middle of the crisis? Friends, now we've reached the interesting part. Pandemics don't only create destruction, they are also periods when the economic order reshapes itself and new winners emerge. Digital transformation gained momentum. Remote work, remote education, e-commerce, digital health services, these all existed before 2020. But the pandemic compressed 5 to 10 years of transformation into 12 to 18 months. Those who benefited most were the ones who saw the transformation coming or adapted quickly. Those with strong cash positions became opportunity hunters. When markets fell, when real estate presented opportunities, when company valuations retreated, those with liquid assets bought. While fear was selling, the courageous were buying, and historically, that courage was rewarded most of the time. Those who diversified their skills were less affected. People dependent on a single income source saw their vulnerability exposed by the pandemic. Those with multiple skills and multiple income streams came out far more resilient. Services targeting health and digital infrastructure exploded. Health technology, biotechnology, cloud computing, cybersecurity, logistics software. These sectors hit their peaks during the crisis. For those in the right sector, in the right position, the pandemic became an unexpected source of momentum. 4. Be prepared, take your precautions, personal financial defense. My friends, now we've reached the most practical part. When the next crisis comes, and it will, what should your financial picture look like? An emergency fund is non-negotiable. I can't say this enough. A liquid, accessible cash reserve covering at least 3 to 6 months of your basic living expenses. The most brutal blow of the pandemic hit those without cash reserves. When someone lost their job or their income dropped, those with cash on hand stayed far calmer. Take your precaution, look at your bank account today. Is 3 months of expenses sitting there? Debt management saves lives. Going into a crisis, carrying high-interest debt is like running a marathon with an already loaded backpack. During crisis periods, interest keeps compounding even as income falls. Building an emergency fund while simultaneously reducing high-interest debt dramatically increases financial resilience. Income diversification is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Dependence on a single job, a single client, a single income source is dangerous during crisis periods. Side income, freelance work, digital products, rental income. These are each like an insurance policy. You don't have to build all of them at once. But starting today makes a huge difference tomorrow. Be prepared. What can you do today to open a second income door? Investing in skills is the safest investment. Markets can fall, businesses can close, companies can go bankrupt. But the skills inside your brain cannot be taken from you. Those who recovered fastest during the pandemic were the ones with diverse and up-to-date skills. Digital skills, data analysis, content creation, programming, financial literacy, investments in these pay off in every period. Physical and digital health infrastructure. Pressure on the health system increases during pandemic periods. Not neglecting regular health checkups, keeping health insurance current. Becoming familiar with digital health services, these protect both you and your family during a crisis. 5. The golden rules for turning crisis into opportunity. My friends, now we've reached the mindset section. This part is perhaps the most important. Rule 1. Make decisions with data, not panic. The people who lose the most money during a crisis are those who sell in panic or take excessive risks in panic. Calm heads, data-driven decision-making, and a long-term perspective, these are the greatest competitive advantages during crisis periods. Rule 2. Think long-term, take short-term precautions. The current crisis is temporary. History has proven this repeatedly. But taking measures to survive in the short term is essential. The two don't contradict each other. You can and should do both at the same time. Rule 3. Other people's fear can be your opportunity. There's a famous saying, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. During crisis periods, asset prices retreat, quality opportunities emerge, and competition decreases. Those who are prepared are aware of this moment. Rule 4. Speed of adaptation is the most critical skill. The pandemic showed us how quickly change can arrive. Not rigid plans, but flexible strategies are what enabled survival. Individuals and businesses that could adapt rapidly to new conditions came out of the crisis stronger. Rule 5. Don't underestimate the power of community. During crisis periods, strong networks, support systems, and community bonds are life-saving, both economically and psychologically. You don't have to carry everything alone. A reliable circle, connections with the right people, these carry invisible but very real economic value. 6. Sectoral opportunities. Where should we look? Friends, this video wouldn't be complete without talking about forward-looking opportunities. Health, technology, and biotechnology. In the post-pandemic period, investment in health infrastructure is increasing on a global scale. Remote health services, personalized medicine, rapid diagnostic technologies, both career and investment opportunities are growing in this space. Cybersecurity. As remote work became widespread, the digital attack surface expanded. The need for cybersecurity grows every year. Skills and companies in this field carry long-term growth potential. Food security and agricultural technology. The pandemic laid bare supply chain vulnerabilities for everyone to see. Local production, vertical farming, food technology, innovation, and investment in this area is accelerating. Remote work infrastructure. The hybrid work model has become permanent. Software, platforms, and services supporting this model continue to grow. Financial technology and digital payments. During crisis periods, when cash usage declined and digital payment systems became widespread, the fintech sector gained momentum. This trend continues beyond the pandemic. 7. Mental preparedness. The most overlooked dimension. My friends, mental preparedness is just as critical as financial preparedness. During crisis periods, the greatest destruction is created not by material losses, but by psychological collapse. Being able to tolerate uncertainty, thinking clearly under stress, not losing the long-term perspective, these are learnable skills. Consume information every day, but be careful of information pollution. Stay away from unverified sources that create panic. Focus on reliable sources and real data. Physical health is the foundation of mental resilience. Sleep, exercise, nutrition. These are not luxuries during crisis periods. They are necessities. And most importantly, focus on what you can control. You cannot control when a virus will arrive, but you can control your preparedness, your responses, and your decisions. Be prepared, take your precautions, and when the crisis comes, be ready. Conclusion. This is not a warning, it's an invitation. My friends, I didn't make this video to frighten you. Quite the opposite, I made it to empower you. Pandemic viruses came in the past. They will come in the future. This is not pessimism, it is a historical fact. But the person who knows this fact and prepares for it is the one who takes action when a crisis arrives, not the one who freezes in place. Build your emergency fund. Manage your debts. Diversify your income sources. Invest in your skills. Build a reliable circle. And most importantly, be informed. Because throughout history, the greatest crises were also the beginning of the greatest transformations. The invention of the printing press was the product of the post-plague transformation. The Renaissance was the fruit of societal rebuilding after the Great Epidemic. The last great acceleration of digital transformation happened during the COVID-19 crisis. A crisis doesn't have to be an ending for you. It can be the launchpad for a new beginning. But for that, you need to be prepared. You need to take your precautions. And most importantly, you need to start today. Don't wait for tomorrow to begin, my friends, because history has taught us this. Crises don't wait. But for those who are prepared, a crisis is never the final word. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. See you in the next video. Stay healthy and stay prepared.